How to gain project management experience. I love this video. I think this is going to be one of the best videos that you can come to and learn exactly what to do and exactly what not to do. I don't think most industry institutes are going to like what I have to say, but definitely you are, because everything that we do in these videos is to add value to you. So I'm going to give you the goods, the bads, and the whole nine, and the ugly. Anyway, and tell you exactly how you gain project management experience. If you're interested in that, please stay with me on this video. I'm going to tell you a little bit of a petty story, and just a little bit, and I'm going to ask you to forgive me because I want to create some contrast. I've worked with foreman, field engineer, superintendent, field director, project director. I only did it for 2 projects, but I was a project director for 2 projects. It was so fun. I got to finish my career that way. So I've been through all of these positions in executive level positions on leadership teams. So I've been with the GCs. Now that we are Elevate, which is our overall company that oversees or owns Lean Tact, Lean Super, Lean Survey, Lean Wellness, and then over here to the right or left, whichever way you want to go, we have our construction company, Lean Built, and our trade partner company called Final Phase. It's a cleaning company. We have been doing that for around 6 years now. And I love general contractors, but I hate working for general contractors. It is the worst, most gut-wrenchingly disgusting, horrific, traumatic experience on earth. Anybody that says, oh, trades this and trades that and blah, 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 and criticize, you don't know half of how hard it is to work for a general contractor. I'm going to leave you in suspense here just for a minute. How long do you think it takes us at Elevate and Lean Tact to get paid for a consulting operation with a clear invoice, a very simple contract, and very little backup required and no owner review? 9 months. I'm not a bank. This is ridiculous. If you know anything about running a business, you know cash flow is king. Cash flow is everything. Businesses go out of business when they run out of money. And if you run out of money, meaning you can't pay your expenses, which I have to pay today, then I go out of business. So I pay today or before today, and then I get paid for that by the general contractor 9 months later. 9 months. And I don't even get interest on that from a loan standpoint. It is ridiculous. And some people might say it's the system, but here's the deal. Actually, you as a GC have to pay me a certain period of time after you get paid. And so these 9-month delays have nothing to do with me, nothing to do with the trade partner. They literally are project managers batching emails, getting to it weeks late, and then trying to fail the paperwork instead of driving it forward and kicking it back, which resets the timer, and then arguing over details because they want to look important or they want significance. 9 months. It's ridiculous. And in project management today, we have an over-reliance on email, over-reliance on paperwork, and over-reliance on administration, an over-reliance on non-value-add meetings, and an over-reliance on negative, disrespectful behaviors that actually create contention instead of collaboration. Now, I'm going to go off script here just for a little bit because this is key. All of you project managers need to know this. I'm reading a new book called Breakneck, and it compares China to the United States. Now, one of the biggest aha moments for me is that China, and I'm not saying I want to live under a communist country, I'm saying that if you really want to know who our competitor is in the United States, we have to keep our eye focused on competing with China and balancing out the overall global dynamic and behaving well ourselves as the United States. But communist China, they are engineers. Engineers lead that country. In the United States, it's lawyers. So in China, you can build a bullet train in 9 years for $36 billion. In California, which is one of the most litigious states, and I grew up in the United States. I love all the states, by the way, so I'm not dissing on California. But it is going to take over 20 years, and it's going to be over $136 billion. And here's the catch. It's only going to go halfway from Southern California to where it was supposed to go. That's absolutely ridiculous. Why does it happen? It's because of the administration, the paperwork, the politics, the bureaucracy, the lawyers, the stops. the rules, the regulations. So we are a country in the United States that literally can do anything that's holding ourselves back, and the world knows it. And we're not going to get any better unless we start to get smart and lean about how we do things. So I'm not saying we should go switch to another system. I'm saying we should improve ours. And the one thing that we can control, we can't change the federal government, but we can in construction change how we do project management. And that means less bureaucracy, less administration, less of all of these things. So I'm going to get to the point here, but the bottom line is the least amount of RFIs, the better. The less friction you have with submittals, the better. The least amount of paperwork you can do, obviously you'll have your legal requirements, the better. The less project management there is, the better you are. Because the more meetings, the more administration, the more supervision, the more bureaucracy, more RFIs, more friction with submittals, more rules and regulations, more of all of these things, more post-inspection is waste. And it costs money. And so I'm steering you on this video, if you're watching me, steer away from traditional project management. Era 1 was the era of disrespect. We learned this from Frederick Taylor. Era 2 is the era of administration. And you see the rise of institutes like the Project Management Institute, which there's some things in those books and manuals that are okay. But for the most part, the project management body of knowledge, the PMBOK, is literally worthless. I hate every second of reading that book. Most of those things are just looking busy on the administrative side without actually managing something. So here is my actual advice of where I do want you to go. Stay away from all of the, oh, I look pretty behind a desk and I'm typing emails, and go towards these things. Okay, number 1, start where the work is. Everything that we do in project management is to make the work better for the workers and foremen, boots on the ground. So learn there first. I always recommend starting as a field engineer so that you can gain proximity, a love for the craft, you can learn to figure things out, and you learn how to become a builder. Understand what you're trying to do, and everything that you do should enable them to do their work, boots on the ground. You are a cost. You do not add value. You are a necessary non-value add entity as a project manager, or if you're in project management. So know you're a cost, and then go to work making the lives easier of the people, boots on the ground in the field. The next thing I want you to do is to own a portion of the project. Go ahead and use the project management systems wisely on a portion of the project, and question everything and lean out, which means reduce to effectiveness, all of those systems. The third thing that I want you to do is understand that most of project management is to be clear, to create beautiful, seamless communication systems, which is not email, to make sure that everybody on the project site is well trained and prepared, that everybody has the right resources, and that everything within that system is constraint and roadblock free. And one of the biggest things in project management is to understand our risks and to go to work making sure that we remove them or manage them to where they have as little impact as humanly possible. And the last thing that I would ask you to do is to understand the importance of preparation. In project management, you are going to, like I said, go out in the field. You're going to make sure that you're adding value to the people who need to receive the value, right? You're going to start with a small portion of the project, develop your own systems the lean way, right? You're going to really develop something that will get you to monitor the right things so that you can add value to the field. But one of the things that I really want to make sure that you're doing is understanding that preparation is the biggest part of that. Meaning that you're going to be tracking KPIs, you're going to be tracking your finances, you're going to be tracking quality, you're going to be tracking safety, you're going to be tracking all of these things, hopefully team health. You can't look at numbers and manage from the office. You have to proactively get ahead of things in a leading indicator fashion and prevent the things from happening in the first place. So I would ask project managers, and I'm not making fun, to get off of their emails and their computers and get out in the field and start to lead the teams to where we can actually prepare, plan work, and prevent mistakes from happening in the field. So this would be my advice for you if you want to learn project management. And if you want to learn more, I've got project management boards that will lead you in the right direction. There's plenty of resources, books, and all kinds of reference material. Just reach out to me in the comments, and I'll also link you to this in the form of a blog post, and just know we're always here to help. But please stay away from heavy administration and move towards effectiveness. I hope you've enjoyed this video. On we go.